We started a little bit early because we have a PSA return to go through, and this will take up a lot of time. You can see all the PSA returns that belong to other people. I've identified them with these lovely energy cards, so that's DL. And yeah, it's not too terribly large of a return. It's about 100 cards. What happened back then was we opened up the expedition box, and I think I split it into two submissions. One that was like 100 cards, the other one I think it was about 150 cards. So I've pre-sorted everyone's cards here, and we're ready to go. By the way, I want to make this message to anyone who is in this PSA return. When I made this submission, nobody back then really knew that the submissions would take this long to return. And this means it's been a long time since I submitted these. So I have a simple rule. I don't ship your card out, your PSA card out, until you tell me to. In the Discord server, the one for this channel, we have a channel called Please Ship. Go make a message over there and just tell me that your address hasn't changed, basically. That's really important. So I'm gonna hold these for you. You know, they're not mine, but they're gonna sit over here until you tell me to ship them. And that's to make sure I don't ship them to whoever moved into your old apartment. Some of these cards are very expensive and they're very safe over here, and they're not very safe if I ship them to an old address of yours. So you do have to contact me and tell me where to ship it, okay? Okay, let's get started. All right, here we go. DL. DL, opening those expedition packs. Remember that, DL? So this lovely duck trio with the swirl down there got a PSA 10, very good. And for some reason, the next one got a PSA 9. I don't know why. Flip it around, it looks pretty good. All right, this is the big one though. You've got your Dragonite from Expedition. He ended up pulling a 10. All right, look at that. This is a really nice card from this set. I actually have one of these. How about this, DL? Do you remember this? So back then, I was a bit more active on my TheCardconomist channel, and we were trying something new where I used a face cam to open up Pokemon cards while we played Pokemon. But he opened up a pack of Team Rocket and pulled a Dark Blastoise out, and it graded a 10. Whew! That's a pretty good return on investment, especially because you also got the Naughty Grimer, and he graded 10 too. Wow, congratulations, DL. And then DL will also remember this. Around the same time, you opened up another pack, and it was the Rainbow Energy. Not the best pull, but this also graded 10, so that's really great. One of the things we learned from this submission, we got a lot of old Japanese cards in this submission. One of the things we learned is that they really just don't grade 10 all the time. There's a lot of 9s, there's some 8s. I think the off-centering causes them to grade 9 a lot of the time. So here we have Fossil Hunter grading a 9. And now these cards are really big, these next two. He was opening up base set with us a long time ago. And back then, people were surprised because they weren't really thinking a lot about opening the old base set. And I did that on my channel. And he pulled 2 Mewtwo's. And guess what? One graded 9 and one graded 10. Really lovely. You also graded a base set Magneton. Unfortunately, a 9 on that. So that's pretty rough, because Magneton's already not the most popular card. You also had some Jungle and Fossil. We got Pinsir 9. It's kind of rough. Venomoth 9. See, even if the card's a bit off center, they'll take it off, huh? Yeah, we're probably hoping they'd all be 10s. We got a Vileplume 9, Kangaskhan 9, a Lapras 8. Look at that. That's just rough. So that's a pack fresh card, and they graded it 8. Here's the card you really wanted, though, right? Okay, and here's a PSA 10 Dark Golbat. I almost said Crobat. Back then, there was no Crobat, right? It wasn't until Generation 2 that we got Crobat. And then last but not least, a really tough grade on this Togetic. PSA 6. There must be card damage somewhere. Here, maybe is it this? All the way down to a 6. You know, it's interesting. I think if you sent that into maybe CGC, maybe they'd be nicer about the grade. I'm not 100% sure. That's pretty rough. If it got a 6 just for that, that's pretty rough. DL, you also sent a base set booster pack, and that base set booster pack graded a 10. So you did really good with your light pack here. That's definitely worth a lot of money. Mr. B. Beck, looks like he has 2 cards. Is it 2? Yeah, 2. B. Beck. Back then, we were just going off of nicknames. We were using nicknames, and we were using Streamlabs. Not a very good system in hindsight. Mr. B. Beck got a 10 on his Gyarados. Oh, my lord. And a 9 on his Jungle Snorlax. 2 really lovely cards. Sucks that the Snorlax got the 9 though, huh? Next up we have just one card for Mr. Bryant Lewis. So Bryant Lewis has been with us a long time. Look at that. He's been with us for at least 8 months, that means. And back then he pulled a Red's Pikachu from Cosmic Eclipse and unfortunately graded a 9. I don't know what caused it to grade the 9. I was looking at it. It looks really clean. No print lines. I'm thinking it's just this weird corner. Look, this corner's strange. It's like a half corner or something. See, this one's real nice and square. Well, this one's weird. It's like it stops short. It's the same over here. If you look at this corner, it's kind of odd. And this one's nice and round, right? So you flip it around and it's the same deal. Centering left to right. Nah, I don't think that's it because I've seen cards far more off-center than this, graded 10. I guess we'll never know. They don't have subgrades either. So, Mr. Rakusagai, are you ready? You're next. You had 4 cards. So, on your Expedition card, you're very lucky. Your Expedition card came back at 10. That's a best case scenario because the Cloister's not really the most popular card in the set, but it's nice that you got the 10. So, really, you're making your money back on that pack. And then you have a Shining Legends Mewtwo, but he only got an 8. Underneath the Mewtwo, we have another 8. Man, that's some tough grading. So we got an 8 on the Shining Arceus. We're going to examine that one because this is really an expensive card. And PSA 10 on the Lapras VMAX. For the Shining Arceus, what was it, man? You know what? It does look appropriate. Why does it look so beat up? It's a little white there, a little white here, and especially down here. Look at that. That looks really beat up. Weird. Did it come out of the pack that way? And then we have Temlet. So we've got another order for Temlet. He got a Jungle Pikachu, and unfortunately graded 9. I think it's just the off-centering. So this one's thin on the right and a little thicker on the left. I think that's it. Otherwise, it looks good. But it shows you that even a pack fresh card is going to risk not pulling the 10. And that's what we learned from this submission. I think that overall the grades were pretty good, but there's just some discrepancies where the grades still come in as 9s or even 8s, right? I think the 8s are really shocking. Pack fresh 8. Now, Mr. Metal Axe, he has 1 card, Dark Magneton, and he grades PSA 9 on his Dark Magneton. I don't know what we were thinking, if it was going to be 9 or 10. God, it looks like it. Well, there you go. You can see it's pretty off-center from the back. Do you see that? It's kind of a tough case because with the Dark Magneton, you really do want the 10 on that card. It's not a very popular card. Except with me, I like the card. Aaron B pulled the Alakazam from base set. I remember this. He, some people went really deep. Like Mahasvara went really deep on base set, and he basically didn't get anything. Whereas Aaron B, he got Alakazam, and it graded PSA 9. So I pulled a Charizard out of this box of base set, and I happened to pull a 9 Charizard myself. So I was a little disappointed with that, but I think a number of the cards from that set also came out 9. Next up, we have James J. You know, James J is an example of somebody who joined the channel very briefly, pulled a hot card, sent it off to grade, and then disappeared. People do that all the time. They'll find the channel is pretty novel, being able to buy the cards live, and they'll buy like 1 or 2, and then they're like, okay, I'm done. I always wonder if they're very much into card collecting or not. Maybe they're not that much into the collecting, and they just thought it was cool. But James J, back then, he opened some Expedition with us. He pulled the holographic Venusaur, and the Venusaur graded 10. So James J is doing pretty good. I think he actually makes a chunk of profit on that card. Crowmag is next. Mr. Crowmag, are you ready? So Crowmag pulled a card that, unfortunately, this card does not go for a lot of money, and it really ought to because the artwork on it is just so crazy. This is Expedition Weezing, and it pulled a 10. I think he goes for just like $200 or something like that. The Weezing, he's so cool looking though. Okay, and Mr. A-Rod is next. So A-Rod was lucky. He pulled one of the Tyrannitars just like I did. He also pulled Gengar, and the Gengar graded 10. And then on the Tyranitar, unfortunately, it only graded 9. You know, I thought it was off-centering, but actually I sent mine in 2, and it came back 10. And both of ours are off-centered in a similar way. So I flipped it around, and I found this on the bottom. I think this might actually be the reason it graded 9. Congratulations on the Gengar, though. The Gengar looks fantastic. In fact, if you don't want it, let me know. Next, we have Tim. I think this is Tim O, because Tim O was opening packs with us at the time. I'm pretty sure this is Tim O. I only wrote Tim down. Can you imagine that? So here we go. Tim gets a 10 on his Pichu. Beautiful. What a cute card. Look at the little daisies in the background. All right. Congratulations to Tim on that. Now we have Cheese. That's right. Even Cheese has a submission. Let's see what you got. So Cheese takes the Sabrina's Gaze. This is a banned card, and it's surprisingly expensive. This is an expensive card, and it graded 10. All right, congratulations on that, Cheese. You got the Sabrina's Gaze. Oh, look, we have another one for Metalax. Metalax must have had 2 in this submission. Sorry about that, Metalax. So you've got the Wobbuffet, but the Wobbuffet comes back to 9. So Metalax overall having a tough day. He got Wobbuffet and Magneton, 2 cards that aren't real too valuable in those sets, and then they both graded 9. Hate to see that. Now we have Mary A. not to be confused with Mary Kay, and she was with us for a little while. It was funny, she went real deep just for a short period, and then she opened up a Misty's Tears PSA 10, and man, she had no idea how lucky she was with that. This card has blown up in price. The truth is, with Pokemon cards, some cards are more desirable, and so over time they go up in price faster than others, and this is one of them. Misty's Tears has done exceptionally well. It's not surprising why. It features a popular character, and it's a banned card, which is weird, and the character is naked. Everything about the card is super weird. It's a very weird story to it, and weird stories sell cards. Now for Mr. Sora. Sora has a little bit of a larger submission. His Nidoking pulls a 10. Look at that. Man, I love Nidoking. He's awesome. Did you know in Pokemon Red and Blue, Nidoking's actually he's like a meta Pokemon for speedrunning. For whatever reason, Nidoking doesn't go for as much as the other Pokemon in base set. I don't know why. He looks awesome. We've got Nidoking. Underneath that, he also pulled the Raichu, PSA 9 Raichu. Muck from Fossil. Muck is kind of like a worst case scenario for one of the cards you can pull from Fossil, and unfortunately also a 9, so this card won't have a lot of value. PSA 10 Hypno. Hypno's also not one of the more valuable cards in Fossil, however, he got a lovely 10 on it. And Misty's Tentacruel from Japanese Gym 1, or what we would know as Gym Heroes. So the real highlight there is he got a 10 on that Nidoking. I really liked that. I'm a little bit jelly. Okay, now we have Imposter Garyoke pulling Raichu and getting a PSA 10 on it. Wow, that's really fancy. So here we go. We've got JC pulling a PSA 9 on his base set Chansey. The Machamp is also a 9, so that's really unfortunate. You know what's interesting? Machamp in the Japanese base set, he's not a promo card. See, in English, he's not very expensive in English because he's a promo card. You pull him all the time. He was in the starter deck, for example, and I think that's actually where you would get him. So there was just a ton of them, and they were all first edition, and because of the population, he ended up not being that valuable. A perfect example of population running the price down on a card. So PSA 9 on the Machamp and PSA 9 on the Articuno. A little bit of tough luck this time, JC. Luckily, that Blaine's Charizard came back, the one we regraded and graded a 10. So we'll just send all these back, right? Okay, now we have Symphonia. I think he just had the one card this time. Mr. Symphonia sending off Neo 2 Tyranitar. You guys remember that? He went pretty deep to pull this, and unfortunately, this graded 9. Is it just too off-center? What's the problem with this card? It looks fantastic. No, he doesn't even look that off-center. I mean, yeah, he's off-center here and here, but I've seen cards more off-center than that pull 10s. I don't know, Symphonia. Maybe it could get a 10 if you regraded it. Is it worth regrading? I guess if you're desperate to keep it in your collection. If you're just looking to cash out, the long wait might not be worth it. Justin G is another guy who bought a few cards and then kind of disappeared. And he's got the Rocket Scyther. I remember he was very excited about pulling this card, and he really wanted to know when it was going to come back. And I haven't heard from him in a long time now. And now we have Ranmisiel. Mr. Ranmisiel, PSA 9. Dark Gyarados. Aw, man. That's not a Dark Charizard PSA 10. All right, just the 9. And finally, we have Mr. Miguel. I believe it's Miguel and Sarah, right? He sent out a Mew with the lovely swirl right here, and that graded 9. So the Mew is actually in the Fossil set for Japanese, and this card goes for a ton of money. It actually competes with the Dragonite in terms of cost. And the other card is, in fact, the Dragonite, and the Dragonite also graded 10. So I don't know, maybe PSA is just being real tough on the grades. Both cards just barely missing the 10, huh? I think they'll still actually go for a lot more than the packs cost back then. The packs back then were so cheap. Now the packs are like crazy expensive. They've like tripled in price, basically. I think tripled. Okay, so those are everyone's pulls. They're all ready to be shipped out. Just contact me on Discord, everyone. Let me know that your shipping address is the same. It also helps if you make a post in the Please Ship channel, but I will try to get everyone's work done just from private messages. Like the moment you message me, I'll just go grab the card and ship it right away. You've waited long enough, so let's try not to keep you waiting. Yeah, I think that's it. Let me go move the cards off to the side. Next, I'm going to be showing off all of my cards. I wish that the submission had not come back so slowly. You know, it kind of disconnects me from what was going on back then. Like I can't remember anything. Now, of course, the first thing I did with this order was I jumped to the card I was most excited for, and it was the Expedition Tyranitar, which happened to grade a 10. Look at that. So Mr. A-Rod got a 9 on his, and I got a 10 on mine. Back then, I wasn't sure how to keep cards separated, and it was around this time that I learned, really all you have to do is look at the unique characters on the card. So my card has 3 little dots here, and if you actually go back in the live stream where we open the box, you can actually see it's mine. So I was like, okay, I'll send it off. We got a Raichu 7 from base set. So people actually, you know what surprised me was to learn that people actually love cards like this, like the lower grades. People like the lower grades because they're more affordable. All right, we've got an Aerodactyl first edition PSA 8. Back then, he probably wasn't worth that much. because that was like 8 months ago. That was like before Logan Paul opened the box of base set, right? None of that had happened yet. So this is actually a pretty good pull. That's because even 9s are getting expensive. Now people are buying 8s. And look at this, reverse hollow Tyranitar. Oh man, imagine if it had pulled a 10. What did it miss on? Did it have like a white corner? Yes, a little white here. Actually, a 9 is probably generous here because look, you got white there and you got white here and it's still got the 9. Oh, so good. Look at this Cubone, man. This has got to be one of the best Cubone artworks. I love how it's kind of like they show off the Cubone. He's so large in the image that you get a real close look at him, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I love the little rocket returns here. Bad Guy Cubone. And this is a card I'm real sad to see at grade 9. Heracross from Neo Genesis. That would have been a good 10. All right, lots of 9s from the old vintage cards. Real disappointing. We have a lovely PSA 10 Inteleon, though. That's worth like $1 bazillion, right? Look at this card. Look at that Savage Gray, dude. PSA 5 on that. Oh my god, that scares me. All right, what went wrong? Something went wrong. I don't even know. It's a 5. Now, look at this. Ooh, PSA 10 Frostmoth. This is from Rebel Clash. People like to talk trash on Rebel Clash, but it's got this beautiful Frostmoth in it. Oh, look, another Frostmoth. What? 2 Frostmoth? That's too many Frostmoth. What's this? Another Frostmoth. Oh my god. Ta-da! How much does he go for? Is he like a $200 card? Another Frostmoth. Where are all these Frostmoths coming from? You're saturating the market. Well, I mean, they're printed, aren't they? They're in the market, mister. I just happen to own them. That's all. They're already in the market. You have to say that Pokemon's saturating the market. Now, of course, I didn't grade all my Frostmoths. I graded the ones that I thought had a chance for a 10. So I have a few Frostmoths. Anyone looking for a Frostmoth? If you guys recall, I did this with something else. I can't remember what I did this with. Did it not too long ago. I had a whole bunch of them. Was it like Rayquaza or something? Like 20 Rayquazas. Make a wig pack with only Frostmoths in it. Okay, sounds good. Light Arcanine. Look at that from Neo Destiny. Did I pull this out of a pack? Damn, that's lucky. This is a great card, especially for Arcanine lovers. So this is an expensive one. I wouldn't be surprised to learn this one goes for like $600. $600, $700, that would not surprise me. Now we have Dragapult VMAX, hyper rare. So this is another nice card from Rebel Clash. Again, people like to talk a lot of trash about Rebel Clash, but it's got this lovely Frostmoth and a lovely Dragapult. And I know they're new Pokemon, but they look good. Rebel Clash is just so much cheaper than the other sets. It's kind of nice that you have a chance to actually pull some nice cards out. It doesn't even cost as much. Have you guys been watching Vivid Voltage? Vivid Voltage is extremely expensive again. So people are just blasting open that Vivid Voltage. Vivid Voltage, just, I don't know, they're gonna have to reprint it a bunch. That's my entire PSA return. And I have another one coming, and it's probably going to be here in about a week. And the next one's going to be larger than this one. So the next PSA submission is larger. We've had a dry spell for so long, you know, I feel like it's so weird. I feel like my YouTube channel's been almost on pause because I haven't had any PSA cards to sell. And they're finally starting to roll in. Pretty cool.